this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the truth on karma, the law of attraction, and what we call past lives. I'm going to show you a whole new paradigm that allows you to transcend limitations and to let go of patterns that no longer serve. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a powerful modality or a way for seeing the world that transcends that of the old school ideologies that just no longer work. Now what I mean by this is sometimes the way that we go about understanding certain concepts is through outdated terminologies, outdated understandings, and then what that causes is that causes us in a way to hold ourselves back. Now, there are ways of going about this process of letting go of what we call karma, of understanding that what we're putting out and what we're trying to attract, the law of attraction, we may be experiencing blocks. There's a way for going about transcending all of this in a very easy way. And the way I'm going to share with you how to do that is actually very simplistic. Now, in order to understand this, let's first off understand the way that most people understand the three processes, and then I'm going to share with you the new modality. It's not really even new, to be honest with you, but it's being now interpreted through understanding what we know with quantum physics and what we know at this level. Now, the way most people look at this process is when they think of karma, they think about it in the form of something that is acquired that they carry around their whole entire life. So you may say, oh, well, I'm experiencing this negativity in my life right now, so most likely this has come from some type of past experience. And maybe even some people believe that this past experience could have been a past life, one that they are not even aware of. Now, the key to this is understanding that the karma in general is a pattern, and karma in general is what we are putting out. Now, a lot of times what we are putting out, what we are doing, either to other people, what we are allowing to happen to ourselves, a lot of times whatever that is simply unconscious. It's something we are not aware of, and because we are not aware of it, we therefore continue in the same pattern over and over and over again without even realizing it. Now, the truth is, when it comes to the law of attraction, there are many people who will intend and think about having a certain type of experience in their life. Maybe they want a certain type of car, a relationship, a certain job, but they may experience blocks in the process. Now, one of the reasons the blocks may be there is because they have patterns that they are unaware of. And these patterns they're unaware of have a lot of momentum and they have a lot of pull. So even if they think of that thing, at the deeper root, they don't believe they're worthy of it. At the deeper root, it's like they're not able to perceive it. Because more so than just what we think, our beliefs create our reality. So if we have beliefs that say we're not worthy, if we have beliefs saying that's going to be really hard, if we have beliefs that say it's a negative thing subconsciously to be a certain way, then we'll constantly block that out. So it's about also being aware of those beliefs, but the key is, to everything I'm going to be sharing with you, the key is bringing the unconscious, what we're unaware of, into the awareness. Because the moment you bring it into the awareness, you then stop the pattern. Now let's look at that as past lives. What we think of as past lives, the old school way of thinking about it, since I have my handy dandy notebook, I might as well actually use it. When we think of past lives, the way we think about it is this is our current life, and this is 1,000 years ago, let's just say. We had all these lives led up to this current life, and there's something I did here, something I did here, something I did here, and this is all holding us back right now in the present moment, and will continue to play itself out even in the future. And the idea behind this is knowing that the old school way of looking about it is that all of this equals who we are right now in the present moment. Now, the key is that is the unconsciousness that we're unaware of. Now, let me share with you a totally new perspective, a way for looking at karma, past lives, the law of attraction, that I think could totally transform your life, and it transformed my own life. Now, here's the truth. This is the present moment right here. We normally believe that we are the result of all of these things that happened in the past. Now, the truth is as we change in the present moment right now, as we change, and we become aware of what we were priorly unaware of, as we change in the present moment, we also change our past. So what we think of as our past and our future, it doesn't exist other than in the mind. Now, the truth is, this changes the paradigm for understanding reality in general, because what we know is that there's an infinite number of parallel realities that exist. And because there's an infinite number of parallel realities that exist, what we think of as the past and the future is only relevant to who we are right now in the present moment. Now, this is the thing. As we let go of unconscious patterns, as we change in the present moment, we not only change the probable futures we could experience, because this is always in flux. The future is always in flux depending on the actions we take in the present moment. If you go to a clairvoyant person, they tell you something's going to happen, there may be a certain amount of momentum for certain things to happen, but the truth is, it's not actually set. It's not fixed. It's changing as we change in the present moment. Now, this is the empowering thing. As we change in the present moment right now, we also change the past that we connect to. So, for example, even right now in my physical life right now, I say this is the present moment. This is when I was 0 years old, and this was, this is in the future potentiality, and right here, this is me. Right now, if I am able to remember times I was very confident in my life. I can remember when this one time I was going into one of my old jobs. I was working a sales job, and I remember going in, and I remember just feeling on top of the world. I was in the right place at the right time. It was a sales commission job, so it was like right moment, right time, and I was making more money. Everything was just aligning for me. I felt really good. I had very contagious energy. Everything was just perfect. If I remember that and I focus on that state of being and being there, right now, the neuronal structure in my brain, the way that my neurosynaptic connections are connecting my brain, are wiring in a certain way to where if I wanted to remember any other state from my past that was similar, it'd be very easy to do because it's already wired in a similar way. So the past that I connect to will be in alignment with that way of thinking. However, if you were to say to me, hey, Aaron, and I'm in the peak state of remembering that, you would say, hey, Aaron, can you remember when you were not confident at all, when you felt, totally the opposite? It would be hard for me to remember right away because I'm already thinking and pulling upon the pasts that are more relatable are the pasts that are in alignment with that way of thinking of the confidence. So it would take me a minute to think about the other ones and then go in the other direction. Now, the idea is that we are not the result of our past. We are who we choose to be in the present moment. As we change our actions, as we change our thoughts, as we change who we are in the present moment, we change the past and the future that we connect to. So the truth is, the future is not set and the past is not set. We can have a certain way of thinking about the past, but every time we remember the past, what neuroscience shows us is that we take the memory of the past. Say I take the memory of when I was 11 years old and I got rejected by some girl that I wanted to go to the dance with, right? I was 11 years old. Say every time I remember that, I take it out of the memory bank, I look at the memory in my mind, and then I put it back. Every time I put it back, the memory has changed. So the idea is by the time you've looked at a certain memory 10 times, it's a completely different memory. And most people will think of a certain memory hundreds of times. Because what we do is when we look at the memory, we put down our beliefs, we put down our interpretation of it, which may not actually be what actually happened. I interpreted that event when I was 11 years old as I'm not worthy. This just isn't for me. I just need to keep to myself. You see, that was the interpretation, but it wasn't actually true. It was just one experience. But as I dealt with that pattern, now in the present moment, I let go of that past experience. That past experience no longer has weight over me in the present moment. So what a lot of people do is they have a lot of unconscious things that happen in the quote-unquote past, and because they're unaware of it in the present moment right now, they're carrying patterns with them that they don't even realize. So for example, when they were 6 years old, they saw their mom and their dad argue about money, and it got into a very heated fight. And subconsciously, you thought to yourself, you were just a little 6-year-old, you thought money is bad. It's pain. There's not enough. So those are the beliefs that you made when you were 6 years old. And you may have carried those beliefs even to now. And you may be saying, well, I want to attract a whole bunch of abundance in my life, but it's hard for me to do. And that belief in of itself, that unconscious pattern that you've been carrying around, is currently influencing your present life. But really, it's an unconscious pattern from the quote-unquote past. But as you become aware of it in the present moment right now, you then change your past. You then relate to your past in a completely different way, and your whole life will change. This is what happened to me. There's certain patterns that will continue to go on, that will continue to present themselves to you unless you become aware of it. For example, I had an ex-stepmom that was in my life between the ages of me being about 7 to 8 years old to about 15 years old. My dad divorced her when I was 15. In between that time, she was a very angry person. She was a very abusive person. So me and my brother went from, before that we were allowed to have TVs, play Nintendo, do all the things that normal kids did, have friends. She came into the picture, and then all of a sudden, me and my brother weren't allowed to have friends. We moved into a different house, and all of a sudden we're required to work outside all day long. We're not allowed to eat only a certain amount, so we were very malnutritioned. And she was a very angry person, so my dad was a firefighter. When he wasn't home for 24 hours on, 24 hours off, we were with her, and she was very abusive, and we couldn't say anything because if we did, we'd get punished even more because we were around her more than we were around my dad. So we were afraid. But I was experiencing that pain, and then all of a sudden, 15 comes around, and all of a sudden I have all this freedom because my dad divorces her. He kind of, came to his senses and realized what was going on. And all of a sudden, me and my brother are then allowed to, she kind of turned us and brainwashed us to not like our mom. We're allowed to be around our mom again. We're allowed to do a lot of the things normal kids did. We're allowed to have friends. We're allowed to go to school activities because before, if we got in trouble, the only thing that could get taken away, because all we did was work outside, was school activities. We had to work to go to band. We had to work to be able to go to forensics debate and all that stuff. So it was a very unique situation. But I don't say that to say pity me, just explaining to you that was a certain pattern. Being around her influenced the kind of worthiness that I felt about myself. Now this is the interesting that happened. She was abusive, and she has something called, she has certain type of personality disorder. But anyways, she is a certain way she treats people. That pattern, even though I've never had to really deal with her again, then after that 15 years old, I then go and I get a job, and I have a job and everything. One of my manager at the time, this one job that I got, worked at Nordstrom's in women's shoes. My manager that I worked for 3 years had the same exact personality, almost to a T, of my old stepmom. She would talk down to people. She was protected by upper management, so she didn't, even though people went up to HR to complain about her because she was talking down to people and she was very manipulative, she would never get fired because she was protected by upper management. So I was experiencing the same personality again in a different person. This time it was my manager. Now this is an interesting thing. She was in my life up until I learned meditation and up until I learned how to let go of the pattern and to forgive everything that happened in the past. Until I was able to heal the 7 to 15-year-old, that ex-manager was in my life. Ex-stepmom, ex-manager. And the moment within a week of forgiving and figuring out this whole pattern thing and forgiving and letting go of it and really feeling it and accepting it, all of a sudden, that manager got fired. She should have got fired a long time before, but it took a while. But all of a sudden something happened to where it was black and white. She had to let go. So it was very interesting to me. But that moment on, I don't have to deal with that kind of personality traits again. But I attracted to me, even after 15 years old, that same type of manipulative, controlling person. I had 1, 2, or 3 people in my life. There was a manager. I had an ex-girlfriend that was kind of similar to that, kind of controlling like that. When I was like 15, that was when I was like 17, 18 years old or something like that for like a year or two. It was very interesting. It was interesting to me that I was playing out those patterns without even knowing it. Now, those patterns had power until I became aware of them. So the way you become aware and the way you let go of these patterns is by feeling it, allowing the patterns to be there, and recognizing it. It is really that simple. Because in the light of awareness, you realize that you no longer need to have it. You realize that it served its purpose for something for you to learn, and now you can actually let it go. And when you let go of those old patterns, you then change your past experience. So I choose to reconnect to this past experience just to explain it to you so that you can understand it. But in the fundamental level, I have changed so much since then that I connect to a different past, and I connect to even relate to the old past of the way that I would have identified myself in the present moment. But what we think of as past and future is not as set as we think. Now, let's talk about past lives for a minute. Maybe you go to a past life regressionist, and a past life regressionist tells you this is who you were in a past life, and it's always very relevant to the life that you currently have. Now, this is the thing with past lives. We, as a soul, are so much more than we can even imagine. So much more than what we think and who we think we are. We think I exist right here in the present moment, and these are my past lives, and these are my future lives, or future potentials. The truth is, these past lives exist right now. They're not so much past lives as they are parallel incarnations of the same oversoul. What this means is at a greater level, our being, who we are, is so much more than we can imagine. And what we may do is we may connect to parallel incarnations of ourselves. It's parallel incarnations of our same oversoul. But they are not exactly us, because the us that we are in this life is through a certain interpretation. But they will be relevant. If it's relevant, then you may connect to certain quote-unquote past lives. But they're actually parallel incarnations. Because the only moment that does exist is this moment right now. The idea of the past is in the mind. The idea of the future is in the mind. Now, I remember, for example, one time my mom went to a past life regressionist. And at the time, she was feeling disempowered because her husband, she was getting a divorce with her husband at the time. This is like 2011 or 12. And when she was going through that procedure, this guy kind of left her and was like not giving her anything, not giving her, like, he moved out and was like, before he was supporting her, they were both like working in a business together. And then all of a sudden he said, "You're not in my business anymore." And my mom was kind of left. So she kind of felt powerless, right? So in the present moment, when she was talking to this past life regressionist, what this person was telling her is that in the past lives, you with this person had very similar experiences. He left you in a village. So it was a very similar type thing that they were able to pull on. Now, the truth is there's an infinite number of parallel pasts and futures. Some may be more relevant than others, but as we change in the present moment, we change and we connect to a different past. So then she was able to see, I was disempowered here too. In the present moment, the key is for me to take my power back and to not let it affect me so much. That was the kind of message that she got from that. Now, me, for example, I remember that in 2012, 13, I hadn't got on YouTube yet. I knew I wanted to speak for a living and share these ideas, but I hadn't done it yet. I remember I met somebody, and this person told me that in a past life, in like my couple past lives that I've had or whatever on earth, this is what she said. She said that in my past lives, I was sharing ideas, and in almost every single past life I had, I was killed because the ideas I had were groundbreaking, and there was a control structure in place that kept me from being able to put out that information safely. So one past life, I got literally thrown into a pit in public, in like this public arena, like Roman times or something, and like a lion bit me in the shoulder. And then in a different one, I was in like Egypt or something. It was something similar. I got in trouble for teaching and sharing some ideas that would like help enlighten people in a way, or like, expand their awareness. And then I would get in trouble, and then again I'd get killed again. And then this life, I didn't have to get killed. That was the idea behind it. Now the idea is that in the present moment right now, I have a lot of energy towards creating content, towards speaking. So the pasts that this person connects to will be pasts that align with that same message of what I'm doing now. But the key is that they all exist right now in the present moment. So when I think of that Roman time, I'm connecting and drawing upon information from that life, but it's not really something that's set the way that I think it's set. Because as I change in the present moment, so do the past change, the type of past that I connect to, because we're so much more than we can imagine, and we have an infinite number of pasts and an infinite number of futures. So the key is being aware of what patterns I'm currently living, which ones are unconscious, and how I can take my power back. And I take my power back through just by being aware of what is priorly unconscious. So that's the name of this whole game. That's the key to this whole process, is knowing that the past and the future only exist in our mind. There's an infinite number of pasts and infinite number of futures. As we change in the present moment, we let go of all of this. The power in this as well is knowing that we can let go of the past, and knowing that the past changes as we change, we can then see that we are who we choose to be in the present moment. We don't have to keep telling ourselves the same story over and over and over again, because in the present moment right now, billions and trillions of our cells are dying and being reborn every couple months, or maybe less. But we're constantly dying and being reborn every moment. But if we keep telling ourselves the story of the past that we connect to, the past lives that have power over us, none of this has power over us if we become aware of what we are living right now, what we're putting out, the energy we're putting out to other people, the patterns that we have. If we become aware of them, we take our power back and we let go of all the karma from the past, and we start to create for ourselves a brighter future potential. But they all exist right now in the present moment. So the truth about the law of attraction, the truth about past lives, the truth about karma, is that when we become aware of all of this, when we become aware of these patterns that are priorly unconscious, we then start to take our power back. And that we are not the product of our past, we are who we choose to be in the present moment. As we change, so does the past that we connect to in our memory, so does the past we connect to as far as our soul and the past lives that we could connect to. So I want you just to understand that you are so much more than you can even imagine. And the more you tap into this, the more that you begin to transform your life. And all you have to do is become aware of the patterns that are there. So for this, what I recommend you do is start to ask yourself a new question. What patterns can I become aware of? What would I have to believe is true to be having this kind of experience? And you can trail the memories back. You can literally start to remember the last time you felt disempowered. Remember the last time you felt disempowered and something happened. And then remember that memory, and then keep remembering the memory and go back in the timeline. Okay, and then once you remember that memory, the way that you think about it will start to wire in a way to where then it's easier to pull upon the memories of your past to find out where that root memory came from. You may find a lot of your root memories come from when you were very young, watching. And if you trust the process and you keep going backwards, you reverse engineer and go backwards in your memory, you'll be able to find those root causes. You can look at them and then let them go, and then you literally will change your past in a very powerful way. So with that, all of this is powerful understanding. It's something that will change your life if you begin to apply it. Don't let people tell you that you are a victim of your past. Don't let people tell you that you're not worthy. Just know that you are who you choose to be in the present moment. And the more you become aware of your patterns, the more you put out good energy, the more you understand this, the more it will change your life. So with that being said, something else I'm going to be doing is more live Q&As on Instagram. So if you haven't followed me on Instagram already, I do daily content there. Plus, I do live Q&As. So if you have questions for me, you can ask me questions about this. Also, I have a meditation that will help you to raise your vibrational set point so that you're able to create from a higher paradigm and also become more aware of these patterns and live from a more conscious state. It's absolutely free. It's going to be in the top of the description box below. And then other than that, as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the little notification gear next to the subscribe button so you can see the daily vids that I do. So the way YouTube does things now is you actually have to hit that button to see those daily vids. And other than that, as always, peace, much love, and namaste.